right. Good morning and congratulations for taking the first step to solving your slow money blues. My name is Doug, retired U.S. Marine, two-time combat veteran turned entrepreneur at your service. Today's episode is what I learned from Barack Obama. If you tuned in last week you saw that we were going to start doing this amazing series on what I learned from, and I'm super stoked about bringing this to you today. So awesome. As always, to ask any questions, visit slowmoneyblues.com and click on Ask Doug or submit your question on IG, Facebook, or Twitter using hashtag SlowMoneyBlues. Let me give myself a little sip of water here. Just finished an amazing workout. And my body temperature is still up just a little bit. So what are our main points that we're going to be talking about today? Well, we're going to be talking about how to become the first. That's numero uno. How do you become the very first? But before we do that, we have to always ask our three questions. Choose these three questions. That's what we should actually call them. One, did you do your homework? And so what you were supposed to do last week was write, record, and listen to your epic ending and start living your dream right now. Don't wait until tomorrow. Don't wait until 2023. Start doing your dream now, because the perfect time is now. And the perfect time is the ideal time. And question number two. I love this part of every show because it's our morning mantra. And if you didn't have an opportunity to say it, you can say it right now. Say this. Just follow me. I'm a little tongue-tied. I state your full name. Take 100% responsibility and accountability for my actions and decisions. I refuse to blame others. If I do, I give away all of my promises, authority, and power given to me by God. Man, I'm telling you, when you say that and you continue to say that, it gets reinforced into your psyche. It becomes part of your being. It becomes a way of a life. And believe it or not, you stop blaming anyone and everyone for your decisions and your actions. That's what we call, my dear friends, maturity. And then, of course, question number three, did you listen to the Monday sneak peek preview? Well, I promise you one thing, you didn't hear it. If you did, it was last week's or the week before, because I just dropped it this morning. But you can actually take a listen to it if you want to. By all means, do so. But thank you so much for tuning in live, because you're going to get all of the tea, as they say today. But before we continue, let's talk about our sponsors that have been rocking with us for all of 2022. I can't wait for 2023 because we're going to have even more sponsors, and I'm super stoked and excited about that. So today's sponsor, as always, is Linky.com. That's LINKY.com. If you want to see what that looks like, go to Linky.com/slowmoneyblues. You will see our setup, and you actually may be able to get something, considering it was just Cyber Monday and Black Friday. So go to Linky.com, spelled LINKY, and get your free link today. Guess what? Doesn't require a credit card. It's a 7-day free trial offer and you get all the bells and whistles, which is really amazing. You get all the bells and whistles, no holds barred. We don't say, okay, you get some of this or you get some of that, but you get absolutely access to everything. So big shout out to our sponsor, Linky.com. Also, it is 2022, and people are still having a digital dilemma. Some people don't know how to build a website. Some people don't know how to do social media marketing or e-commerce. They don't know how to do, let me see, what else? Hosting. They don't know if they should do cPanel or direct admin. They don't know if they should do WordPress. Well, if that's you, go to bignetdomain.com, use promo code BIGNET, and get a 10% savings at checkout. And exclusively on BigNet Domain, if you purchase a domain name, that's .com, .us, .net, whatever. I won't say .anything, because that actually may be a top-level domain or a generic top-level domain. Whatever your domain or your desire is, just go there, and guess what? When you purchase it today, you will actually be able to host 1 year for free. You can't get that deal anywhere. So big shout out once again to our sponsors, Linky.com and BigNetDomain.com, where the net just got bigger. So today's question is this: does being the first have its advantages? Yes, no, or maybe. So he stepped to the mic and stated, "Change has come to America." These are the words spoken by then President-elect Barack Hussein Obama on 4 November 2008 in front of an estimated crowd of about 240,000 people. But what did those words really mean? Let's get personal. So from the outside looking in, one might conclude, like so many, that Barack was the first African-American elected president of the United States of America in its 232-year history as a nation. However, he was really speaking of himself. He was the change. So what did I learn from Barack Hussein Obama? Well, that's a great question. And that's where we're going to start. And that's what we're going to take a deep dive into. We're going to unpack and unhack how to become the first. Now, you know that before Barack Hussein Obama ever became president, there were many others that tried and many others that failed. Now, the question is, why did they not succeed? Well, some people might say, well, if you know anything about the history of America, you know for sure that it had to do something with sexism, racism, ethnicism. Some type of ism came into the equation, right? But have you ever heard of this thing called beliefism? So this is what Barack Hussein Obama possessed. If you want to become the first in anything, you must believe that it's possible. But hold up, it gets better. You must believe that it's possible for you. Isn't that amazing? Now, you know, our entire podcast, we always talk about how to build, launch, and grow your own personal freedom success system. If you follow the trajectory of Barack Hussein Obama's career, you do know he was just a community organizer. That was it. I mean, now, of course, he was a Harvard grad, but nevertheless, he always wanted to impact people in his life in a very inspirational way. And so he found his calling in politics, right? First as a community organizer, then as a state elected senator, and then just right on to obviously at the federal level he became a senator, and then boom, right on to the White House. That was one of the fastest launches. Now, from in probably in political like history. Now, people forget that his mom was completely Caucasian and his dad was completely African. So people always say he's the first Black or African American. No, he's just the first person really who thought it was even possible. So if you want to become a first in anything, you must believe that it's possible for you. In fact, he wrote a book called The Audacity of Hope. Then there's another book about all of his various speeches that he wrote. Understand that this man graduated from Harvard University. Now, you know, I'm not a big proponent of, you know, any particular university because they were all created by human beings. But you are part of a magnificent network that gives you access to a lot of different things. So anybody graduating from any Ivy League school or any HBCU is going to be launched into this magnificent network, and hopefully you take advantage of that particular network in doing your purpose. So that's number one. You must believe it's possible for you. You may have grown up in poverty, for example, but you believe that, and so you haven't seen anybody do what you're trying to do in your family ever, like maybe becoming a millionaire. I don't know, like maybe owning a home or going to college or starting a business. Maybe that's the thing in becoming the first. So you must believe that it's possible for you. Secondly, how to become the first. You must have a dream. You know, what's funny about dreams, And I remember this, I mean, many years ago now, and coaching one of my really good friends, Rebecca G, you know who you are. So if you ever tune into this, you know exactly who I'm talking to. And I've shared this on a podcast before, but it's worth sharing again. I remember asking her, if you could go on a dream vacation, what would it look like? And her initial response was, well, you know, I would go to Hawaii and I would go there for 2 weeks. And then I asked myself, man, that's a dream. It's a dream vacation, 2 weeks in Hawaii. I said, well, why 2 weeks? She said, because I only get 2 weeks of vacation every year. I say, now remember, this is your dream. It has no limitation. It has no limitations except your imagination. She quickly changed it to 30 days. I was like, wow, just like that, boom, instead of 2 weeks, because there was no limitations with the exception of her imagination. So a dream, your dream, for example, it's only limited to your imagination. So when Barack Obama was running for president, he was invited, I think, to like when he introduced, I want to say, Bill Clinton at a national DNC event. And when they heard him talk about, we're not red states, we're not blue states, we're not purple states, the speech I'm talking about, right? Man, when people just heard him speak that, they were like, that dude's going to be the next president of the United States. He has that it factor. But see, Barack Hussein Obama had a dream. And his real dream was just really to make people's lives better in a very practical way. And he knew that really happened through policy. So much, in fact, that he was impacted deeply by healthcare. And to this day, one of his lasting legacies is, the Affordable Healthcare Act. And many times people have tried to squash it, but it still lives on because he knew that above most things, people should just have access to healthcare. So he said, you know what? The best way for me to really facilitate that is I need to become president, and then I can impact people's lives in a very practical way. Now, isn't it something that we just came out of a pandemic and now we got all these respiratory things? But do you know the healthcare, the Affordable Healthcare Act is literally saving people's lives? Like people that didn't have access to it. And remember how they used to be able to take, healthcare, if you had a healthcare bill and they could put it on your credit report and ruin it. Well, they can't do that now. So how to become the first? You must have a dream. And listen, the dream must be really big. Like the dream, if it's a dream, it should seem like it's almost impossible and out of your reach. Because that's really what a dream is. Like, man, so it should be limited to your imagination. That's what your dream is, if you want to become the first. And lastly, you must have a team. Now, there is no way you can do anything of significance and on a magnitude that impacts millions, because that's what the Affordable Healthcare Act did, if you don't have a team. Understand too, let's digress a little bit in talking about how to become the first. I'm quite sure Barack Hussein Obama did not want to be the first to inherit one of the most fragile U.S. economies in its history, on the verge of just, economic collapse, financial Armageddon. If you recall, remember the airline industry was under duress, the banking system was under duress, the housing market was under duress. Was there not anything? Everything was under duress. It was like, oh my goodness, what do I do? Where do I start? He had a seasoned team that came in and they hit the ground running. Do y'all remember Cash for Clunkers? Y'all probably remember that. Remember Cash for Clunkers? Remember we had to bail out the airline industry because, the economy was so jacked up, people didn't want to get off. We had to do that again just during the pandemic, right? Man. So it seems like we keep having these cycles, but you must have a team. Just like Obama had a dream team that came in that was experienced. Biden have a dream team to come in and clean up the mess that his predecessor made. This isn't about politics. This is just how to become the first. You must, one, believe it's possible for you. You must have a dream that's bigger than you. Somebody says it should scare the life in you. And then you must have a team. People that have the time, they have the talent, they have the training, they have the experience, they have the education, and they have the energy to bring that dream to fruition. And if you don't, well, guess what? Chances are that you will not be the first. So what are our major takeaways? Being the first is never easy. Being the first is never easy because you're the person that has to walk through the door. In fact, a lot of people in the African American community were not really pleased with some of the policies that Barack, implemented or did not implement, And so what he quickly figured out was that, hey, you know what? Although I'm the president, I'm not like a king or a dictator or an autocrat. I have to work with people. You know what I'm saying? Now I could sign executive orders, but those aren't lasting because the person that comes after me, and I can only have a max of 2 terms, they can undo everything that I just did. So I have to learn to do what? To negotiate. So the major takeaway is being the first is never easy. And what is your homework for this week as we close out 2022? Can you believe it? I'm looking at my calendar. Today is November 29th, and we only have about 4 or 5 weeks left in this calendar year. And then it's boom, we're off into 2023, which is your homework is write down your first goal of 2023. Do it today. Do not wait. So what did we talk about? Well, we talked about what I learned from Barack Hussein Obama, and hopefully you learned something today as well. And we talked about, how to become the first. Number one, you must believe that it's possible for you. It's got to be very personal. One, you must have a huge dream that scares the life in you, not the life out of you, because if you're dead, you can't do it. And then number 3, you must have a phenomenal team that has the time, talent, training, education, experience, and energy to bring it to bear. Hey, look, next week, we're going to be talking about Oprah Winfrey. I can't wait to talk about her and what I learned from her. So as always, tell anyone suffering from SMB to tune in each Tuesday from 9:30 to 10 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. Don't forget to follow, like, and share at Slow Money Blues on all social media platforms. And also join our private Facebook group. Until next time, continue to build, launch, and grow your personal freedom success system. Now, as always, I won't see you at the top, but I'd much rather see you over the top. Have an amazing rest of your week. And oh, by the way, I hope you had an awesome Thanksgiving and even more so, have an amazing Christmas. But I will be back next Tuesday. I'll see you then. Bye.